As I pushed his arm away, he pushed the cocaine towards my nose in an aggressive manner. Both of our arms slipped, and the open bag of cocaine went flying into the air, striking the headliner of my truck. At that moment, all I could think was, oh shit! My black-on-black truck headliner and interior is going to be covered in cocaine! This thought only ran through my mind for a split second because we began fighting while the cloud of cocaine lingered in the air. It was more of a wrestling match where we were both grappling to get the upper hand on one another instead of just throwing punches in the truck's cab. During the altercation, I attempted to look around and see if any vehicles moved in to make an arrest, but at first I only saw the same green Taurus and silver Lexus pull up closer behind my truck. I saw a group of headlights off in the distance, which I hoped to be my cavalry truck, with my brothers in blue heading in my direction. Just as the occupants in the Lexus and Taurus exited their cars and approached my truck, my arrest teams pulled up. Two of the guys who got out of the back seat of the Lexus were armed with semi-automatic handguns. They dropped them right away once they saw the blue lights. By some miracle, no shots were fired. One of the police officers attempted to open the passenger's side door of my truck, where Benji was sitting, as we were still fighting. Of course, as stated earlier, the doors were all locked. Nobody wanted to bust out my windows on my personal vehicle, so they kept yelling commands while pointing their weapons at us. I did not want them shooting into a vehicle with me as a backdrop, so I had to do something quickly. Thank God that I somehow had enough awareness to reach over and hit the unlock button for the doors while I was fighting, since Benji was confused at the sudden arrival of officers. When I hit the button, the door sprang open and Benji went flying out. With the assistance of a couple of officers, the arrest team came around to my door and pulled me out of the vehicle also. During a buy-bust, an officer who works long-term undercover must not compromise his cover. So, the police make it look like the undercover is arrested also. While everyone was spread eagle out on the asphalt, a search ensued of both vehicles and all persons. The arrest team made sure that they announced out loud every gun they found, including mine. This continued to give me street creds because I was seemingly arrested for the unlawful possession of a firearm, even though I did not have any drugs on me. Benji, the rest of his crew, and I were all separated and put into the backs of different police vehicles on the scene. From the back seats of the patrol cars, Benji and I had a visual on one another. I proceeded to act crazy, headbutting the glass and shouting I was going to get him. I called him a snitch, casting negative attention on him because the others could either hear or see what was going down. After a search of the vehicles and interviews with the suspects, the following was discovered inside the silver Lexus and green Ford Taurus: rope, duct tape, ski masks, gloves, and multiple handguns. As it turns out, the 500 pills that Benji had were fake ecstasy. At that moment, it was apparent what they intended to do to me. They were going to kidnap, rob, assault, or kill me. During a post-arrest interview, the female driving the Lexus confirmed that this was their plan. Case conclusion: all persons were arrested and charged with possession with intent to distribute a counterfeit controlled substance presented as MDMA or ecstasy. Some of the individuals were charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and possession of cocaine. After serving 1 month in jail, the female suspect provided us with some additional intel, and the other warrants were served on Benji and his accomplices for the previous distributions. After reading the warrants and the fact that they sold drugs to an undercover officer, they were shocked. Benji was so shocked that he wrote a 4-page letter to the state court judge about the incidents with which he was being charged. In his letter, he explained how I was a dirty cop because he used cocaine with me on one occasion. He went into detail explaining the specific situation. I thought this was excellent because of the time that I simulated using drugs with them. Benji was wholeheartedly convinced that I was a user and therefore was now a dirty cop because I did such a convincing job simulating using drugs with them. The funny thing about his letter is that it was a self-admission that he gave me drugs, which classifies as distribution according to the law. This was used against him to force a plea, and he was sentenced to 10 years in state prison on numerous drug charges. Eventually, the entire gang of hot boys was indicted from a federal wiretap case in conclusion to this investigation. Over 20 members of this organization were eventually incarcerated for varying lengths of time in the federal.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.